wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, the premier wrestling podcast in the Midwest. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp. Thank you so much for tuning in on this amazing Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks, we have an amazing guest joining us later on. My guest co-host, I should say, Jay Wade. He should be joining us momentarily. Up until then, though, we got a lot of great things to talk about in the world of professional wrestling. Big shout out to the Night Owl Renee and Luke Skywalker Roberts and everybody involved with the WTP to help make it as amazing as it is. Now, before we kick it off the way we know best, allow me, if you will. You know what? On second thought, I know somebody who could introduce it just a little bit better.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
That's absolutely right, folks. It is time for us to go through the amazing sponsors here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast. We would like to thank all of our great sponsors. That is Royal Mills Transportation, Rathbun Engraving. You can get your own Wrestle Talk Podcast mug for just $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge in KC, Kincaid Arcade at the famous Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media. Thank you so much to all the amazing team members out there. Little Popeyes Designs. You can get your own amazing WTP tumbler. And, of course, the world premier fantasy wrestling group out there, the FWWC. And once again, folks, there is only one way to properly introduce my co-host for this evening. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast my co-host this evening, Jay Wade.
Hey. How we doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing all right, Wade. How you doing, brother?
Well, technology sometimes gets the best of you, but we're here tonight. We're going to talk about some wrestling. We got a lot to talk about. Looks like just you and me for the next couple hours, but we'll have some fun. I'm a little tired. I'll get amped up as the show goes on, though.
All right. Hey, we will make the absolute most of it. That is A-okay. I will say this much. We can't continue this show anymore without doing what we do best. And that is starting off by removing our hats, in this case, we don't have hats, placing our hands over our hearts, as we pay tribute to the greatest country in the world. And no, I'm not talking about Sweden this time. I'm talking about America, damn it. Ugh. Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that might not have been my best idea.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't.
I just got a bad headache from that one. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, of course, yep, Susie saying herself, her ears are bleeding, and Aaron
Hey,
or
Aaron.
Aaron saying it brings a tear to his eye and a big headache. Yeah, pretty much. So, with all that said, how have you been, Jay Wade? Besides,
Oh, man.
tired.
It's been crazy, a little hectic. Trying to get prepared for the show. I think we got some good high spot questions. I got stuff prepared from Raw last night and from Wrestle Dream, and for Fastlane. We got pay-per-views coming up left and right. Sometimes I feel like we're getting a little too it's getting a little congested here with all the wrestling stuff. It's not a bad thing, but also it's hard to follow a lot of things. So we'll try to get as much as we can tonight.
I was gonna say, I find it interesting because you take a look at professional wrestling. There was a time where it's great to have so much product, but at the same time, when there's so many pay-per-views happening at once, or there's so many PLEs happening at once, you don't get a chance to really cherish each one. I feel like with WWE lately, as well as AEW especially, we have one show, and then I feel like just 2 weeks later, we have to be ready for another either pay-per-view or PLE or something that doesn't let us truly enjoy the stories and the matches that had happened at the previous event.
We don't get time to rest from what we just saw. We just had we had NXT and Wrestle Dream, I believe, in the same weekend. And then we had Raw last night, and we got NXT tonight. I know back in the day we're like, man, we don't have enough wrestling. Well, now I think we got more than we bargained for, and we're having to play catch up. Because I do feel when we do the Wrestle Talk podcast, we're catching up because there's stuff that's missed from the week before, and it just so much is happening. It's a good thing, they're keeping us on our toes, but at the same time too, you gotta digest this meal a little bit.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree on that one. And I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. And the best way to go about talking about it is through our iconic High Spots segment. So allow me to introduce us to High Spots here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Mic check. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we talk shop, coming through the screens of the laptop and non-stop like a running speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops, like a clock flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
And that is absolutely true. So, we have a bunch of High Spots questions, but we don't just go down a list. We don't just go down in order. That is why we have our wonderful 5-second randomizer to pick for me and pick for us what questions. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on all of our social pages, and definitely get all the latest from the Wrestle Talk Podcast. So with that, we are going to kick it off. All right. Our first one is... All right. Well, hang on one second. So, is MJF getting the recognition he deserves as champion, or is he becoming an afterthought? Now, for the reference, for those at home, here's MJF after defeating the Righteous at Wrestle Dream. So, MJF definitely becoming one of the most over and popular stars in AEW. He's always been a big time heel, but now he is getting his babyface run. And so I have to add, and quick shout out to Sonny Money Maya who's tuning in this evening. God love you, buddy.
Oh, you bastard.
But I have to wonder. I mean, Jay Wade, what do you think of this?
I think that he's the workhorse right now. He's doing a ton of stuff, defending the tag straps. But, I don't know, with Adam Cole injuring himself, by the way, I, they say that MJF's the devil in disguise, but I don't know why, but I think Adam Cole might one up him here when it comes to the end. The ankle injury, this work, having to do all this work just so Adam Cole could be tiring him out to win that belt off of him. And, it just, it seems like that could be a good scenario. But at the same time, too, this is like the second show in a row where he's not the main event. He's the world champion. And you would have thought they would have had a world championship match on Wrestle Dream. But no, they had him defending the tag belts in the opening bout. I don't know. He's only in the last 4 shows headlined from Forbidden Door, then All Out, then All In, and now Wrestle Dream. He's only headlined in the main event and All Out in those last 4 shows. It just makes me wonder, we got a lot of good things in AEW, but it just seems like they're not focusing on their heavyweight champion.
No, I feel like they're focusing on, and this is one of the questions that at some point tonight we're going to get to, bringing outside wrestlers in.
Yeah.
One of the problems, there's no problem with the promotion mixing in new stars with established veterans. There's a problem when the new stars don't get the prominence that they deserve. You can be a title holder and not be an established star.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is that I worry about is that for being the main champion, I worry that MJF is becoming the afterthought in the eyes of of backstage. The fans love him. The fans are who give him the recognition. But at the end of the day, it's whatever TK does in the back that determines everything.
Yeah.
When you got a guy who's snorting the fun dip sugar backstage, anything can happen. I worry about MJF in his future as the champion because I feel like it's something that can just end in a split second, and not because of like an injury or a suspension or something, just because they may think he's not a true star, but he is. He deserves much more recognition from AEW management than he's getting.
Yes. All I see from this is they're letting him be the champion because he's homebred talent, but they're also, it seems like they're waiting for their gold mine to appear so they could then give that one the championship. I don't know. I'm not liking his reign as champion. It doesn't make me feel. I wouldn't put him in the same. Sadly, at this moment in time, I thought he was more hot before he became champion as a snarky heel than he is now.
Right. No, I definitely agree. So, all right. Well, I got the randomizer here waiting for us.
Let's do it.
Let's see what our next topic here on High Spots is. It'll go go longer for 5 seconds. All right, here we go. Congratulations to Trick Williams for winning the NXT North American Championship. What is next for Dirty Dom?
Yeah,
And for the
originate.
record, let me he is on here. There we go. Well, there is Trick Williams winning the NXT North American Championship. So that is an interesting question. One must wonder about. Last night on Raw, Jay Wade, Rhea Ripley confronted Dom, or Dom, if you will, and she said, she booked a rematch on tonight's NXT, and she said, if you don't come home with the title, don't bother coming home. Very, very interesting stipulation, if you will. But what do you think is next for arguably one of the biggest heels in the company right now? Because the heat he gets is like absolutely nuclear.
I really don't know. We're not bookers. We don't make the decisions, but I don't know why they took the belt off of him so soon. He's going to lose his mom. It just, I worry a lot lately with WWE programming. We got so much stuff going on. On Raw, they're already forgetting about Chad Gable after he lost to, I'm always going to call him Walter because Renee gives me trouble because I don't pronunciate Gunther enough. So he's Walter to me for the rest of my time on the show. No, Dom, one of the biggest heels right now in the E, and they haven't lose the belt, and it's frustrating because that's what he had going for him. I wanted to see him, maybe get another belt, hold a couple belts at the same time. Seems like the Judgment Day's falling to pieces, but I don't want Dirty Dom getting lost in the shuffle because I think he's a great heel. I win it, but he's gonna he's gonna lie, cheat, and steal his way through it until someone gets the Duke on him. I thought it's too soon to take the belt from him.
I thought so too because it was such big news when he did win the title. Because having the NXT North American Championship on a main program like Monday Night Raw was also a huge boost for NXT, let alone for Dom's character. Now, I'm not saying Trick Williams anything negative about him, but what I'm saying is, to not have that now on Raw because Trick Williams isn't going to be going to Raw yet, and Dom is that he's over as a heel. And I know people may think that's a contradiction, but no, everybody is established he's a heel. They go out, they hate him. Like, this isn't Baron Corbin, go away, we don't like you. It's like, damn, we didn't expect you to be this good of a heel. The Judgment Day has definitely helped with that, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And it remains to be seen, maybe by the end of the show, he'll have the title back. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions in the Judgment Day as a whole, especially.
Yeah, it seems like they can't get on the same page. I'm really wanting to see what's in store for them this weekend at Fastlane when they defend the tag straps against Uso and Cody, which I'm not a fan of them throwing them together like that. I would have much rather seen Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get a rematch. I don't know what's going on with that. Were they even on the show last night for Raw? I didn't see them, I don't think.
Who is that?
Sami Zayn and Kevin
I did not
Owens.
see them on the show last night. I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't recall seeing them.
Yeah, and so it just feels like I don't know. It seems like Fastlane was thrown. I'm fussy lately. I keep thinking shows keep being thrown together, but maybe I'm right because, like I said, it seems like we're congested right now with a lot of stuff. So We're not getting time to build. We're not getting no time to build anything. So
no, everything's kind of clustering together. So we'll see how it goes. All right, folks, you're tuning into the Wrestle Talk Podcast in the middle of our High Spots segment. For those just tuning in, it's now time for our computer randomizer to help us shift gears to the next High Spots topic. All right. Well, you mentioned people that you didn't see on Raw. Well, here's a couple we did see. We saw Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa together at the end of Monday Night Raw. Do you think we will see a DIY reunion?
I'll start. They gotta, because honestly, what do you think they have going for them? Because singles, I don't think they're strong enough to be on their own. They were a hot tag team in NXT. It just for some reason they're not pushing my dial when it comes to keeping me wanting to watch them on television. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. When you see guys like Gunther destroying them, when you see guys like Gunther destroying people left, or Walter destroying people left and right week after week, I don't know. I'm kind of losing faith in our good guys that we have in the business in the WWE roster. So it's good that they're together, but also at the same time too, they can't be the singles guy, so they got to throw them back together so they can try to defeat. They're probably going to defeat the two guys that are with Walter right now. So,
I think it would be great. I feel like it would be a good boost for the tag team division. I think that WrestleMania season was some of the best tag team action we've had in a long time, mainly between the Usos, our bloodline, if you will, and Zayn and Owens, especially. But you saw the Brawling Brutes, we saw Otis and Chad Gable. You've seen the Judgment Day, and I do enjoy seeing the Street Profits. Like, I've always been a fan, but I like seeing what they're doing with Lashley and how that's developing. So there's a lot of great tag team action out there. It's just the development of the teams. Having somebody established like DIY will be great because it'll help put other teams over and it'll help keep them established and prominent on the main roster.
Yeah. Also, too, like I said with Chad Gable, it's not. What's up, Renee? It's not, really. It's not really good that Chad Gable and Otis are losing. If they're wanting to compete, keep them competitive. I know they want to keep Imperium strong, but goddamn, you got to give someone to root for, and it seems like they're not giving anybody to root for. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. All right, let's see what we got next. Ooh. At Wrestle Dream, speaking of Wrestle Dream, so at Wrestle Dream, we saw a technical showcase between Josh Barnett and Claudio Castagnoli. Did you see the match? And if so, what are your thoughts on this style of match?
Yeah, I got to actually, I didn't get to catch the whole show. I got a lot going on, but I did catch on YouTube the match between Barnett and Claudio, and it was back to old school basic match. Barnett, man, I've been following him for a while. But it was crazy that they had this match on a pre-show. This is a pay-per-view caliber match. And I guess at the last minute they found out Barnett could work, but it was a good 10, 12-minute match with the victory coming out of nowhere for Claudio. And I'm hoping we see more Barnett in AEW because, for one, he's a beast. Two, he was trained by Inoki. And that type of style is something you don't see like you used to. It was a very technical match. They only had one or two like impact moves. They had maybe one belly to belly. Cesaro did his swing, and then an underhook suplex. They threw a lot of sessions. Yeah, but the win came out of nowhere with a tie-up roll-up for Claudio and Barnett.
It's interesting because there's something great about Josh Barnett is one of the more underrated stars in whether it's MMA, WWE, or not WWE, I'm sorry, MMA, UFC, and pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And Claudio is one of the most underrated stars of the past 20 years, 25 years, I'll wager. I put him up there with guys like Chad Gable, Shelton Benjamin. I mean, got Tyson Kidd before he unfortunately got injured. And hell, I'll even go with the AEW/WWE Samoa Joe. That just truly doesn't get the recognition they deserve or the appreciation. I thought the matches were very well planned out. I didn't feel it ran overtime at all. And I thought it was an interesting having Moxley on commentary as well. I thought it was an interesting little touch.
Moxley on commentary was pretty good.
Yeah. And I also do like the post-match promo that Josh cut, talking about how he heard a lot about Claudio and everything what he heard about him is true. Everything he heard is true about him. They don't know how great he is. And he leaves with the highest regard for him. I like planting the seeds for what can come in the future.
Yeah, I'd like to see, a whole trilogy between those two, maybe. Barnett has his own, I think it's called Bloodsport, where they do a wrestling / MMA style type competition where it's no ropes ring, and it's some good stuff that they put on the Fight Network, so on the app. But seeing Barnett because I went to Barnett's jiu-jitsu seminar a couple of weeks ago here in Seattle, and it was fantastic. I learned a lot of stuff. I got to meet the man. That man is a beast. He's 6'5", 6'6", 280 pounds, and I'm a 300+ pound man, but he made me look small, which is very rare. So.
Yeah, no kidding. So with that, we're going to go to our next topic here. What it'll be, I don't know. Oh, this one. I can already answer this one right now. My answer is no. Okay, all right. Let me say what the question is. Do the Young Bucks deserve another chance at the AEW World Tag Team Championships? Now, I can go back in what I said before. No. Do I think the Young Bucks are one of the world's most talented tag teams? Yes. Do I think that they should be considered among the greats? Yes. Do I think that they have been put in the spotlight too much? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And all of it can be true. You can be, and people will say, "Oh, well, it's their position within the company." Okay, but you shouldn't use your position within the company to put yourself at the forefront of the product. I mean, smart decision or not, Cody made sure he put a stipulation in where he wouldn't challenge for the AEW World Title anymore. And it's his own promotion he founded, and he didn't win the big title in it. there's so many instances, and I'm just gonna say it. I know he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, but it was the equivalence of Triple H putting himself in every title match, in every storyline, in everything from the early mid 2000s. I'm sorry, hate me if you want. I don't care. It just got on my last damn nerves. And the Young Bucks being all over the product when it comes to this is just one of those examples. I feel that, it's a great time for them to let let a lot of up and comers have their shot. Jay, what do you think?
Well, I always enjoy seeing the Bucks take on FTR. I'm not calling them young Bucks anymore because they're around my age. I'm 39, and neither of them look young anymore. Cool, especially the one that's losing his hair. Yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, they love that limelight. If it's good press or bad press, they like being in the spotlight. And them winning on was it Saturday or no Sunday? Seeing them, I don't have a problem seeing them go against FTR again. But at the same time, too, I'd like to see another tag team emerge at some point as a top tag team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. All right, short, sweet, and to the point. Let's see. All righty, back to our wonderful ticking time bomb generator. All right, we got a new one. What are your thoughts of the Rollins Nakamura last man standing match at WWE Fastlane?
So
Wait, I'll let you take over on this one.
Well, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This will be number 3 for their matches, right? This will be God. If they have Rollins beat Nakamura 3 shows in a row, I'm gonna have to choke someone out because this is just poor Nakamura. He's been such a workhorse the whole time he's been with the company, and they've so underutilized him. My belief is he would do much better in AEW or Impact or go over back to New Japan. But I hope it's going to be a good match. They're going to focus on Rollins and his injuries, with his lower back and everything. But I really sure do hope Nakamura gets the Duke this time around. Even if they got to keep Rollins strong, have some sort of, screw job happen to Rollins, but you can't have. I don't want to see Rollins beat Nakamura 3 shows in a row.
To me, Nakamura's WWE career you knew he wasn't going to go anywhere when he lost the WrestleMania match after winning the Rumble, when he lost the title match to AJ Styles. When they did not put the title belt on Nakamura, I said to myself, they don't have plans for him.
No. Especially when he won the Rumble.
And when he won and let me tell you something, for North American audiences that watched New Japan matches or have heard about, let's put this in perspective of a casual fan who has heard about AJ Styles and heard about Shinsuke Nakamura and know that they've had legendary matches in Japan.
Yes.
But never got to see one in the Americas. For them to have it at WrestleMania, everybody's mind went wild. Everybody was excited beyond belief. Only for it to be shattered once he lost, and then he had the heel turn. Like, it was so avoidable. It was so... None of it needed to happen. And so, yeah, I believe that, and that's why I agree with you on the whole thing where Rollins needs to lose this match.
Yes.
I've seen so many wrestling series of matches. So this isn't technically the best of 7 series. But how many best of series matches have we seen where the person goes down 3-0 and then the other person proceeds to win the next 4?
Yeah.
Or at
Well,
least
this is not this. I don't believe this is a best of 7. This is just,
no, it's not a best of 7. But what I'm saying is when you see a wrestler win match after match after match, like Nakamura is more than capable of being that credible threat to the title for Seth Rollins. But if Rollins keeps beating him on television, you're not going to believe that.
no.
Like,
And I don't believe he's had a victory over him since they've started their feud. Like you would have a non-title match, and usually champion loses in a non-title bout, but Rollins hasn't. So he keeps doing interviews. I don't think he's defended his belt on Raw in ages. Am I right?
no, he hasn't. And, he does, like, he's always backstage with the title. And the only reason the title exists is because of, Roman holding it exclusively on the other one exclusively on SmackDown. And it's like, look, if you bring back a second title, well, then damn it, defend it.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be doing that. And he's just defending it on shows. Well, that's okay, but he's not having memorable bouts, in my opinion.
It's been a forgettable reign.
Yeah, it has been. And when he loses the belt back from that, hopefully. So
yeah, we'll see what happens on it.
Rollins has been a shitty champion, and he shouldn't be number 2 or 3 on the PWI 500 or number 1, whatever the hell he was. So.
All righty. Well, we are going to go to...
I'm sure we have some more.
Yep, let's go to the next... It's still rolling. There we go. Uh-oh. I knew it.
Stuck.
Oh, shit. Well, you knew we had to get there at some point. At Wrestle Dream, Adam Copeland made his AEW debut. For those 2 people in the wrestling world that don't know, that's Edge. Tony Khan said he is a full-time roster member. Should the Rated R Superstar be a weekly attraction or only be there for the special events? And first off, I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to save some of this for shoot and shout unless I change my mind and go a different tangent. But all the fans that have thrown Edge's action figures and memorabilia and stuff away because he went to AEW can just fuck right off. Because you are exactly what's wrong with professional wrestling fandom. And you make all the other professional wrestling fans just absolutely look terrible. Because if your mom worked 25 years at a company and she had the opportunity to go to another company with no hard feelings leaving the other company, and she would get treated right at the other place, why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't you support her? Like, I'm just saying, and okay. And I know it's a little sidetrack, but I'm just so pissed off because of how this whole thing has become such a big... Nobody was doing this crap when Jade Cargill went to WWE from AEW. You didn't see this big outrage.
No.
And Edge is one of the greatest of all time. So he makes his debut. He cements that he's going to be a babyface. As a full-time roster member, Edge said in the past that his career was winding down, which it still is. But I mean, what do you think his schedule is going to start looking like?
That's going to be like, hopefully, if his body keeps up, it's going to be every week. He's either going to appear on Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision. Like so far they got him coming on Rampage, and talking, and then they said he's going to be on Collision, and then the Rampage the following week he's wrestling Luchasaurus. So they got his schedule, it seems, planned out. It seems like losing Mr. Phil Brooks, CM Punk. I think they knew who they were getting, so that's why they didn't have a problem releasing him. So, I'm glad to see Adam Copeland and I'm always going to call him Edge.
You know,
do it at the end. That's why they came. So.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Edge being full-time attraction or only for special events. I just feel that Edge needs to wrestle at his own pace and whatever's most comfortable for him. And I just want him to do what's best for him. That's all that I care about.
He's happy. He's going to, with MJ. I can't wait to see it. Those two are coming back to the Kings of the Mic. So, Edge, FWW, what to do.
Wade, I will say, kind of going in and out a bit. A lot of clicking, popping noise. I know you said technology was definitely not your friend today.
No, it's not.
While you check on that, I want to wish a special good evening to Herb Simmons, one of the brilliant minds in our industry and a great guy. I had the pleasure of seeing him in Waterloo just a couple months ago. It was a great pleasure. But yeah, now I want to pull a picture up for you since it is. Oh, there we go. Okay, so allow me to pull this up, and I'm going to pull up this last High Spots question. All right. All of these men are still active. Should we be spoiled one more time?
I really think they just a week ago. He's a Christian or the WBE between Impact and the before. So, I'm not gonna lie. I think they should go one more time. Tables form on the AEW show. I think they were.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Well, hang on one second. I'm going to pull you backstage while you get your speaker situation figured out in just a couple minutes. And we'll have you right back, my friend. Hang tight. Okay. So, with all that said, okay. We looked at the picture of all the gentlemen from that Triple Threat TLC match, how they're all still active. Do I want to see them? Should we be spoiled one more time is the question. I would love to see it, but at the same time, there comes a point where I say to myself, there's a reason it hasn't happened since then. I feel as if, all great careers come to an end. I was as a football fan, I've been spoiled beyond belief with some of the players I've seen throughout my life. I saw the end of some great careers, and I saw the entirety of a lot of other great careers as well. And that's how I look at it through professional wrestling. I saw the end of The Rock's career. and Mick Foley's career and Ric Flair's career before he decided to come back. And I saw all of, essentially, I mean, I started tuning into wrestling around early in 2005, basically. So plenty of John Cena, plenty of Triple H still, Edge, like Randy Orton, Batista. I've seen a lot of great wrestling in my life. And while I want some of those memories to keep on going, there's a reason they're memories. So, I don't know. It's a tough call for me. And I'm going to pop back Jay Wade in here, folks. Fancy meeting you here.
Yeah, I'm not having any issues on my end. I don't know what's going on. We'll do our best, I guess.
No, you're okay. It sounds much better now. So I don't know what it was. Like I said, technology doesn't always want to work. Folks, for those that are just tuning in, I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp. He is Jay Wade. Thank you so much for tuning in so far to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. It is a wonderful Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. It's a bit different because it's not often that the guest of the show is also the host of the show. There's definitely a lot that I'm going to be talking about later on tonight. And yes, my amazing girlfriend tuning in. She always calls me Puffin. I always call her Rose.
That's very nice.
Yeah, God love her. She's really something special.
Good.
That with all that said, it's definitely a pleasure being back on the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
You got some big things going on, brother.
I know it's been busy. I want to give a shout out to everybody at Interstate 70 Sports Media for all their hard work. And look, I want to give a shout out to you, Skywalker, the Night Owl, Sunday Monday, everybody that has any affiliation right now with the Wrestle Talk Podcast for all the amazing work that still goes into it. Big Hoss, Big Sexy, and everybody that's played a role in the success of this podcast for all the years. I have been associated with it in some way, shape, or form, probably since 2016. That sounds about right. So back when the Night Owl and Nightmare Jonesy were hosting it. So one thing I wanted to bring up, this was not in the generator.
No, bring it up, brother. Let's talk.
All right. So do you think, and it was something you kind of touched on in the beginning of the show, the wrestling.
I touch on a lot of things.
Well, the wrestling.
Wow, that didn't sound right whatsoever, did it? No, it didn't.
The wrestling programming surplus. Do you feel AEW has too many shows?
Oh God, yes, I really do, and it's sadly because, hear me out. WWF back in the Attitude Era had all this amazing talent, and they only had two shows. They had Raw and SmackDown, and it seemed like
they said Sunday Night Heat too, which was.
I don't count that because no one really watched that. Okay. At least I didn't. Okay, they had a lot of stars, and they were all stars, and it seemed like everybody had something to do. God forbid they got to make another show just so they can have Miro and Andrade on there, so we don't forget about it. I don't know what the hell AEW is doing where they can't. I don't know what the ingredients are you need to make it to where everyone gets their fair share of treatment. I don't know. It just feels like they got too much programming and not enough time to get guys on screen. guys or gals.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because WWE had this issue back when WWF had absorbed ECW and WCW, and their solution for it was to have a draft, the brand extension.
Yeah.
So SmackDown was its own show with its own roster. Raw was its own show with its own roster. Instead of doing that type of thing, AEW's gone the route of let's just have more shows. And sometimes you'll find those wrestlers on one show and not the other. But the thing of it is, if you got one show drawing 3 million people, let's just say for the hell of the argument, Dynamite gets 3 million people, and you're going to have Christian, you're going to have Adam Copeland, you're going to have MJF, Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, but then you're going to go to Collision. Collision's going to have 200,000 people viewing it, and you're going to have Miro, Andrade, Ricky Starks, and Orange Cassidy. Well, nobody's watching the show where they're on, but everyone's watching the show that the other guys are on, and the same goes for the women's division too, but having the solution to getting more exposure isn't to have more shows.
No. And
it's about making the shows that you have more memorable.
We got one more show too that no one gets to see because you got to be part of the Honor Club. Ring of Honor. There's guys on there we don't get to see regularly, but for some reason, they have. I don't know. We just got too much going on.
I remember there was a time in my life I had Raw on Mondays, ECW, the WWE version on Tuesdays. Oh hell, there was another show on wrestling show on Wednesdays. There was Impact on Thursdays. There was SmackDown on Fridays. There was, if you wanted to get technical for a while, there was that Saturday morning slam, but then late on Saturdays, and then at nighttime was Ring of Honor. And if you missed it, you could watch it again on Sunday afternoon. And on top of all of that, for a long time on Access TV, if you had it, you could watch New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
Who, ironically, the guys on commentary were Jim Ross and Josh Barnett.
Yes.
So, and yes, Aaron Wallace also brought up a couple other ones that were on broadcast television, Main Event, and WWE Superstars. So, and you mentioned the Attitude Era as far as Raw and SmackDown. Okay. You had Metal, you had Jacked, you had Heat, you had Shotgun Saturday Night, you had all these Afterbirth, you had all these. It's wrestling has always been a surplus of programming. But the thing of it is, some of those shows were just storyline advancers. Some of them were just promotional for vignettes. Like hell, I remember I used to watch AM Raw like at 1 in the morning at on USA. And it was fun. I got a kick out of it. I was like, oh, cool. I get to stay up super late and watch wrestling. I already watched Raw every Monday night, but cool. I get to watch the recap again, Back then, being a kid, it was so cool.
It was. Because back in the day for a while, when Austin came back from his injury in 2001, they would show replays of SmackDown for 2 hours from noon to 2 on Saturdays on KPLR and Channel 11.
Ooh.
And sometimes they would show it at midnight on Saturdays, and then right after it'd be Three Stooges. So that made me feel like it was like old school KPLR,
That would be fun to watch. Oh my gosh.
Austin, Angle, Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, Big Show, Kane, the McMahon era, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Hardys, APA, all of that good stuff, in the Attitude Era. So it just seems like they all got their place. And now it seems like no one does. So
yeah, I think that, and another thing involving this, they talk about ratings. I hate to say it, the last time ratings truly mattered was that Wednesday Night War. Ratings don't matter anymore. Because people can watch a bunch of stuff for free on YouTube or Facebook Watch or the streaming services. Like, this is my thing. I got things that take place. I do Roundabout Sports on Wednesday nights, so I miss a lot of Dynamite. The only wrestling show that I consistently can truly watch and have the time to every week is SmackDown. Because even I don't catch the full 3 hours of Raw when it's live, but because I record it with YouTube TV, I can go back and rewatch what I've missed, and that's a recurring trend in the world today with all kinds of streaming services, that people don't have, when you were definitely growing up, and it still was the case when I was growing up, it was either, hey, you catch it at this time or you're SOL. You missed it. Like, hey, what? And that's why AM Raw existed. Hey, what happened? Why the show on KPLR existed? But you go back to 1998, go through the TV guide. But if you miss Raw is War, or you missed the War Zone, have fun. You can't, unless you recorded it on your VCR, you ain't seeing that again.
And then back in the day on USA, sometimes Raw would get preemptive for the dog show or the tennis playoffs of some sort. USA would cover the tennis, the US Open for tennis, and preempt Raw to where it'd be on a Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, if you didn't remember that, you'd be SOL, unless you watched. I know they had recap shows on Saturday mornings and stuff back on USA, but if you didn't catch either of that, you'd be a week behind, 2 weeks behind.
Right. And then, the way storylines advanced back then as compared to now, you'd wonder how you got to this point. And I feel like having this too much of it's like, and it's another tangent I'll go into as we're getting close to the shoot and shout time, but it's the saturation of a market. Putting too many wrestling shows on TV is the equivalent of having too many promotions in one area.
Yes.
Eventually people just become disinterested or just overwhelmed.
But what I like, so Midwest right now, I believe, is doing very well independent wrestling wise. I like the promotions that are going on right now in the Midwest with PWE, SICW, Dynamo, South Broadway, Glory Pro, Anarchy. It's all different. Not any one of those promotions are the same. And if you want to go see this one show one week and then this other show the next week, you got, back when I was working, Jeremy, we didn't have that many promotions running. And it seems now every weekend there's a promotion running in the Midwest, and that makes me very happy.
It is refreshing to see. I know some promotions haven't run shows for quite a while, and then I know other promotions, that are, I feel like every week or at least twice a month, I see posters promoting their upcoming events. And then you got ones from like Iowa, like 01 USA. Then you got CHWA from Illinois, PWE from Illinois, although we are going to be debuting in St. Louis next month. So I am excited for that at Concordia Turner Hall, which is where I made my debut as commentator when I was with Dynamo a couple years ago. So it's a homecoming. But with that, folks, we have reached the 8 o'clock part. It is time to transition now to our lovely shoot and shout segment here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast with the only way we know how.
It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everything is fun, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life's on contract. Your best bet's to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit. better quit letting that slip, or you'll be leaving with a fat lip. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit.
Oh, man, I love it. All right. Yes, absolutely. So this is the Shooting Shot segment. It can be about pro wrestling. It can be about the government. It can be about the Chinese government. It can be about EA sports. It can be about whatever the hell you want it to be about. This is your chance to rant and rave on whatever you want. And Wade, my friend, you get to kick us off.
Oh, really? Okay. I wasn't prepared, but I can probably pull something off the top of my head about ranting. Man, the baseball season. Not one damn team in the playoffs right now that I could give two cares about. The Cardinals are out of it. My Yankees, my Mariners. My new hometown team, the Mariners. It just seems like, I really don't. The teams. I'm worried about the playoffs this year for television ratings because these teams are not. And you correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy, because you have your hand on the pulse of most of sports right now with your sports show and everything. But I don't think the playoffs are going to do well ratings-wise because there's not a team that just grabs you like like usual with the Yankees or the Red Sox, or the Cardinals or so. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I'm not too happy with the playoffs. I really wish the Cardinals would have done better, especially in Waino's last season. I know you're going to be talking about that a lot tomorrow night. That's my rant, my first rant. I'll have a couple others because hopefully we can shoot it back and forth between one another here. So,
all right. So this is mine. This is gonna hurt. This one, I had plenty on my mind of what I wanted to talk about. So it's interesting because I mentioned how earlier when we talked about Edge joining AEW, I talked about how I told all the fans that were throwing his stuff and burning his action figures and all of his.
Jeremy, is there a lot of reports of that happening right now?
There's been pictures circulating of people actually doing that, and
that's
there's
stupid as hell.
And there's people that say he should be removed from the WWE Hall of Fame. let me tell you something. Like I said these fans can fuck off, and I meant it. Because at the end of the day, Edge is going. Does that mean we have to remove Hulk Hogan from the WWE Hall of Fame and remove him from everything, being Sting and like Ric Flair because of the careers they had everywhere else? And it's not that. It's not even that whole Hall of Fame comment. It's wrestling. It's the IWC has ruined being a wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And people will say, oh, it's only as bad as you make it. No, it gets as bad as you make it.
Yeah.
This is the thing. There's 3 things I don't like in professional wrestling.
Say it.
The IWC, the business side, and the dirt sheets.
Mm-hmm.
I hate all 3 because I've seen friendships end, and I will admit that a good friendship I had broke down because of the business side of professional wrestling.
I'm sorry about that.
The IWC, it goes without saying why they suck. And the dirt sheets, they're basically just pro wrestling TMZ.
Can I tell you something?
Everybody has to go to Uncle Dave. Go ahead, because it's.
No, we'll get back. Just hear me out. How funny would this be if not one damn. If we didn't have dirt sheets, And everything we saw on television, we took as truth in the world of wrestling. Like, just think if we had the minds of how we thought about wrestling as like when we were kids. Just think about that. We wouldn't have all this stress. We wouldn't have all this bickering. We wouldn't lose friends. It just, people are always wanting to one up each other on what they know. And, it takes the fun out of it. It does. It really does.
So basically, if kayfabe still existed,
Big time, like 100%. Even we talked about the good and evil of the guys. Hulk Hogan is the good guy, the superhero. That's why I became a fan of wrestling. I was big into comic books: Batman, Superman, the X-Men. These were real life comic book heroes. If you thought about it, when I first came up, you had Sting, the Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair, the Undertaker, and these guys, if you think about it, when the Undertaker is pretty much the Thanos of wrestling, so it's just, I wish sometimes that still existed.
And I get that. I think, a lot of it went out the window when Vince had to say wrestling isn't real, it's scripted, and he sold his soul for the sake of, it's like Cornette said, he sold his soul for the sake of the tax evasion, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't have to pay taxes from the sport and deal with the athletic commissions the ways that he would have. And so they became sports entertainment. Then you have the incident in the 80s when the Iron Sheik and Jim Duggan got caught with cocaine in the car together. Well, Duggan's a great American hero and Sheik's the big time heel. Well, damn, you can't do that. So then that gets leaked out, and as time went on, everything just got exposed. And no, I definitely feel I agree with what you're saying in the sense that if these dirt sheets didn't exist and we didn't always have to hear from Sean Ross Sapp or Uncle Dave for everything, the wrestling world will be a much better place. Just my opinion.
No, you're right, brother. It just seems like these gossip columnists of wrestling always are wanting to stir up trouble. We got these men who give themselves up, their bodies and their minds to the world of wrestling. Look what it's done to some of them. Matt Riddle, for one, that whole predicament's been bothering me. I know we have these WWE releases and stuff, but Matt Riddle could have been McMahon's next big thing. He could have been heavyweight, world champion. But man, he had so much drama in his life, and it stinks that it's getting played out, with him, what he did at the airport, and him and his wife and kids, and how that's going, and him with that new girlfriend who's in the entertainment industry, and she, it just, there's not a lot of guys that really get a private life. Now, I would say Randy Orton has been able to keep his life pretty private from the business. And, that's pretty good. It just seems a lot of guys don't get their privacy, and the dirt sheeps don't help, but also too, the dirt sheeps, they spoil a lot of stuff too.
1000%. Folks, as we're heading into this,
you can't even think of the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. So
I do. I 1000% definitely do. Well, folks, before we get into, in a weird way, I hate to say it, but before we get into me being interviewed, talked to,
we'll talk turkey. What's going on with you?
Yeah.
So,
before I'm the featured guest, there is one thing I also have to put out there.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Yeah, that's right. As we head this time, it's back to go into our amazing sponsors. Us here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast would like to thank all the great sponsors that make us what we are here today. That includes Royal Mills Transportation, Raft Bun Engraving. You get your own Wrestle Talk Podcast mug for just $20. Nobleman's Barber Lounge in KC, Missouri. Kincaid Arcade at the world famous Oak Park Mall. Interstate 70 Sports Media. Big shout out to everybody in that amazing team there. Little Popeye Designs. You can get your own Wrestle Talk Podcast tumbler. And, of course, the world's premier and most prestigious fantasy wrestling chapter, the FWWC. Woo! Got that all out in one breath. All righty. So.
All right. Mr. Jeremy, you were supposed to be our guest tonight, and there's a few things, we'll start out with. We first, we've known each other for, I think it's coming up on a year for me being a part of this fun, fantastic show. And I think we did the first couple months on here. We did shows together and stuff. And then we got to meet at the Wrestling Hall of Fame in Iowa. And damn, was that fun as hell.
That was fun. I missed that.
That was such a good time, man.
I can't wait to do it again, man.
We got to do that, and then we also got to
do CAC.
Do the CAC, and at some point, I'd like to all of us get together, give Rodell a Red Bull injection, and do Mania at some point. Do a Mania weekend, and I'd like for all the four of us to do that. We should try to keep in touch. Maybe get some more involved from the Wrestle Talk community here. With Renee and stuff. But Jeremy, how long have you been announcing? I know you've been announcing for a while now.
So
4 years.
I've been in journalism for 10 years, over 10 years, basically 10 years. I've been doing podcasts / shows and radio appearances for 7 years. And I've been a wrestling commentator. This is my third year doing it. So I debuted in 2021. So we're going on 3 different years now, which I've done commentary. And I made my debut in 2021 with Dynamo Pro. Was with them up until earlier this year. A lot of great memories, a lot of amazing talent. Jim and Crystal, and do such a hell of a job. I know they haven't had a show for a while, but 2 of the best people you can meet. The passion they have for the industry is unrivaled. And Sadie, God bless them all. And of course, Skywalker. I want to say one quick thing on this show, and I've said it on interviews and on Facebook posts and stuff, but if it wasn't for Skywalker Luke Roberts, I would not be where I'm at today. I owe so much of my life and career to what he's helped me with, who he's helped me be, just everything. So I'm very grateful.
He's a very giving guy, isn't he?
Yes.
And I really do think, I really wish the wrestling community would give back to him as much as he's given to them. He showed you the ropes. He showed me the ropes. When I first started wrestling in 2004, he was a wrestling trainer, and he showed me the technical side of things. You want to talk about wrestling like Dave Malenko, then you get in the ring with him. I'm not lying, man. He used to be 160, 170 pounds, and he would show me, headlocks, wrist locks, twisting me like a pretzel. He just knew how to tie you up. And he taught me the technical side of things. He taught me the ring psychology, and he's always taken care of me. He got me in here. He got me in touch with Renee for the Wrestle Talk podcast. And, I still have my foot in the door in the world of professional wrestling, and hopefully someday I can pay. I don't think I'll ever be able to pay Skywalker back for all he's done for me. I try to be a good friend to him every day, and but no, I appreciate you giving him the shout out. But man, this interview is about you, man. You got some. What made you? I guess was it a contract you couldn't refuse when PWE came rolling around?
It was a contract I couldn't refuse, but more
Little
importantly,
contract.
it was a contract, but more importantly, it was an opportunity I couldn't refuse.
Okay. All right.
I had multiple wrestlers reach out to me. I had Lenny Mephisto,
He came up in the business. I know Lenny very well.
Yep. And he reached out to me about everything. And I consulted with certain people about what to do. This is the first time I've truly spoken publicly about the whole thing.
Get it out, man. Let's hear it.
I wanted to stick with Dynamo and be PWE commentator. I wanted to do both. I was told that Lenny said it could happen. Unfortunately, and I don't harbor ill feelings personally. On the Dynamo side, they said it couldn't be done. And it just became a great big anxiety conflict with me because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Once again, like I said, what was offered to me and what can come in the future, I felt I just had to go for it.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you the truth. The biggest reason I went to PWE. So if you go on PWE's YouTube channel, you see their matches from their past few shows. I mean, they upload everything. They upload archived content and all their current matches. You will find every match that I've called on commentary.
You'll hear your voice when they watch it on YouTube.
You do that on Dynamo's YouTube channel, you won't find my voice.
Okay.
And it made me feel, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe the word, like to put the word to mouth. But it was something I feel like could have been different, And let me tell you something. The guys in that Dynamo Pro locker room, I've known for years. Some of my best friends in the business and some of my best friends in life are in that locker room. Adrian Surge. I met, Camaro Jackson. Back when Reign Victoria was still there, when Camaro was still there, Mike Outlaw was still there. Big Vic. There's so many wrestlers that I've met in that locker room.
Well, that promotion has history,
Dynamo Pro has such great historical significance in the St. Louis area, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. And I was going to say, because that includes the Western Illinois area. They've had shows in Illinois. Delirious being there, for example. Mystico. Like, there's so much. And Ricky Cruz, who's, to me, one of the most passionate wrestlers you will ever find. And when I started, and look, I know he's and I'm gonna say this, the Snitch, he's a pain in the ass, but I'd be damned, he's a great wrestler.
Yes, he is.
The Snitch is a champ for the reason, is the champ for a reason. But no, the time just came when, and I feel like the good Lord put that opportunity in front of me. I really do.
Yeah, brother.
I really feel like I was like, look, you can either be secure going this way or you can take a chance and go up, and that's what I did. And this coming Saturday, October 7th, and I have the promotional poster, is Bittersweet Lockdown 2 in Alton, Illinois. and at the Franklin Lodge. And let me tell you, I've done so much traveling for PWE shows. And I know we're going to talk about some of those matches in a minute, but I got one story that also really I want to tell you what made me feel loved and welcomed at PWE.
Do it,
okay.
Brother.
So on my way to the last show we did, it was in Centralia, Illinois. Well, Centralia is a good ass distance away from here in St. Charles.
Yes, it is.
Area. So I'm driving now somewhere near Centralia. I get a nail in my tire, and so of course it's running flat. I go to an AutoZone, try to get it fixed. It ain't working. I'm trying to figure it out. We're cutting close to showtime. One of the guys from PWE and Lenny and them are reaching out to me. They said, "Tell me where you're at. I'll pick you up. We'll get you to the show." So the guy now, my car got fixed. Like some guy from the insurance came in, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. I get to the show. Lenny could have yelled at my ass because guess what? I'm the lead commentator, and I just missed the first 4 matches of the show. You know what Lenny does? He pulls me aside. He has me sign the poster of the show that we're giving to the venue host. We do this for people that host venue. We all sign the poster. He had me sign my name on it. I'm like, fuck. You know how much that meant to me to feel important enough to where, like, that's what mattered for him. Like, and, Lenny is one of the most ambitious, passionate people I've ever met. Like, he's busting, like, you know him.
Yes.
So you know how well his
he's driven like no other.
Yeah.
And listen to Herb. Listen to what Herb's saying here.
I love Herb's advice there about following your heart. And I think that's what I ended up doing. And
but no, Lenny is a very passionate man. He is driven. He wants to run a successful promotion. He wants everybody to enjoy that success with him in PWE. And that promotion and the guys that are with that promotion are doing big things. And it's good to see in the Midwest a promotion thriving, so.
I got the message from a referee. I believe it was one of the referees at PWE. It was somebody who reached out to me and told me, "Hey, we got Concordia." And I'm thinking, see, Concordia is under new ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing of it is, Concordia is where Dynamo used to run all their shows.
Yeah.
November 4th, that's where PWE makes its St. Louis debut. So in a way for me, it's like a homecoming. I'm coming back to where Luke introduced me to everybody in the Dynamo locker room, except this time now I'm with the PWE locker room. And,
stuff happens, man. You're doing your edge. You're doing your Adam Copeland.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing to me that I've had guys like Mike Outlaw reach out to me, and tell me how impressed he is. If he hears from any other promotions wanting to my commentary services, he would let me know. Lenny's fine with it as long as it doesn't conflict directly with the PWE show. He says, go for it, which I, once again, extremely respect the hell out of Lenny for. And, I've called death matches in PWE. I've called insane championship matches. And let me tell you a little bit about this.
You got some cards coming up, and I'm wanting you to talk about them. Your next couple shows, you guys got some matches lined up. I'd love for you to tell other people.
I want to explain about what the Bittersweet Lockdown match is. So this is what it is. There's 6 competitors are in the match. 2 of them start in the ring. 4 of them are handcuffed outside the ring. 1 per ring post. This is a single elimination match, which means every competing star must be eliminated via pinfall or submission until only one competitor remains. There must be a winner one way or another. Now, the winner gets a PWE championship match of their choosing. So they don't have to go for KLD's championship or Brandon Aaron's if he defeats KLD. So for example, KLD's facing Brandon Aaron's, as you see here. If Brandon Aaron's doesn't win, he cannot go for the title again as long as KLD's champ.
Oh, wow. That's a stipulation, huh?
Yep. We also have the stipulation for the Thunder Kitty Riley Knox match. Let me tell you something. Riley Knox is one of the baddest and toughest women I have ever seen compete. And I've seen some great women's wrestlers out here. I've seen Tootie Lynn. I've seen Maddie Monarch. I've seen Ashlyn Alexander. So Riley Knox is
she's not one to trifle with. I've seen some of her videos at the gym, and she's throwing that weight around like it's nothing. So yeah, she's intense.
But this is the thing. There's a stipulation for this one too. Riley Knox loses. This is her last shot. This is her last shot at Thunder Kitty.
These are some big stipulations. Now, in that lockdown match, they're not teams. It's just 6 individuals all against each other.
And here are the 6 competitors. Now,
we got some big names in there.
Yeah, there are some big-time names. You got the Ben the Jet Trust. You got Blake Steele, Dallas Taylor, Jabari King, Percy Drews, and Camaro Jackson. Now, Camaro, like I said, the Quad Father. He just was in a tag team match with Chavo Guerrero at a wrestling event. Now I can't tell you right now who I think stands out. They are all fantastic wrestlers. I've known some of them I've known Ben Trust and Camaro for years. So I know them more on a personal level, and I know that they've been training really hard for this. But I know you have to go through a lot of hell to eliminate Jabari King.
Well, all I'm going to say is, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was just going to say that, the favorite on paper looks to be Jabari King. Mm-hmm. But if I had to go with anybody, I believe it or not, I might go Blake Steele on this. And people may wonder why. I'm going to tell you why I say Blake Steele. He has wrestled to a draw with Mr. All That Matters ATM for the PWE Interstate Championship. He has fought tooth and nail multiple occasions with some of the best in the company. I think if there's anybody that can truly go the distance in this match, it'll be him. And that's one thing in this type of match you need to be able to do is go the distance.
That's true. I'm going to slightly disagree now. Blake Steele does, he has the tenure over all of them, if I'm correct. But here's the thing. Those are some hungry individuals. Jabari King, I've seen his work in the past with other promotions. He's a tank. But then you got Camaro Jackson. They don't call him the Quad Father for a reason.
Exactly.
And then you got Benjamin Trust in there.
This has been your whole life.
Styles. But they all need this win. They're going to give their all. They're going to probably leave it all in the ring.
I want to give a shout out also to Camaro Jackson for his first ever appearance on the PWI 500. That is a fantastic accomplishment by one of the hardest workers and one of the greatest guys I have the pleasure knowing. Aaron Wallace, by the way, says he's got to go with Ben Trust winning the Bittersweet Lockdown match. But yes, like I said, big shout out to Camaro Jackson.
Now, is that match coming up for October? Is that the November show?
Every match that we're going to be discussing is for this Saturday night in Alton, Illinois.
All right. Because I just want to make sure because you guys got a handful of shows, and I want to make sure I'm right on what
we are booked for quite a while. Like I said, the poster is right there. Bittersweet Lockdown 2 presented by Pro Wrestling Epic. It's at 1513 Washington Avenue in Alton, Illinois. This Saturday. We already have multiple rows that have sold out as far as seating goes. The attendance numbers continue to rise. And, we have – I want to say this one thing about the St. Louis show coming up in November before I backtrack to Bittersweet Lockdown. We want to fill Concordia to capacity. Like, we can put, 400 or more people in that place. And that's what we're aiming for. But I will, once again, that's something I'll be happy to talk about another time. I wanted to talk about this. I want to talk about speaking of ATM, who I mentioned, ATM versus Kendall Beck. Now, ATM and Kendall Beck, they've been intertwined since March because ATM defeated Kendall Beck and Ben Trust in a triple threat match to win the PWE Interstate Championship. Now, this is fast forward 7 months. Kendall Beck is trying to earn a rematch for it. Now, keep in mind, this isn't just your average, getting the rematch. Or I'm sorry, this isn't your actual rematch. He's just been trying to get the rematch, and now he finally has it. If I'm Kendall Beck, you have to put everything you have in it because you got to take full damn advantage. 7 months, Wade. 7 months, man. Like, imagine waiting since March to get what you wanted, and you finally have the chance to get it. Like, I'm telling you right now, it is it's something. And Kendall Beck, one of the most over stars in PWE. The crowd goes absolutely nuts for him. Every time he heads out to the ring. And like I said, if you go to YouTube, now I want to make a big clarification. And I'm gonna put it on the front here. This is the YouTube channel name. It's at PW Epic. So they do have another YouTube channel that was used, but they don't have anymore. But if you go to PWE PIC, that's the one where you'll find all the latest videos, the ones that have my commentary, the archived ones throughout the history of PWE. And you can find PWE on Facebook as well and on Instagram. So I definitely wanted to put that out there. But yeah, Kendall Beck has a huge chance. I will say Jabari King, keep an eye out because he's always been the right-hand man for ATM for the past few months. If I am Kendall Beck, I'm going to keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, you guys got a big show coming up. And, those matches, ATM and Kendall Beck, Kendall Beck, he said 7 months. So that means when he lost that belt, he probably didn't think he'd be back in this title hunt again. And it looks like from the sound of it, he's worked his way back. And, even though it's not signed, sealed, and delivered, that if he doesn't win it, it's win it or you never get a shot again. But he's got to win. He's got to win this match.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we also have I also wanted to put out there some of the other guys that we're going to have competing at this Saturday's show, Bittersweet Lockdown 2. We're going to have Keith Smith Jr., a third-generation wrestler. He's going to be competing. He'll be in action. We're going to have Zulu, who competed actually against Jabari King and at Centralia, and it didn't go so well at Riot on the Range. And we're going to have the PWE Powerhouse Champion, Baracus, in action. He's going to defend his belt.
That's a big man right there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And underrated news, but it has just been recently announced. The return of Tyler Copeland will be taking place at Bittersweet Lockdown 2. People have been wondering for months about Tyler Copeland's return. Well, he will be back. We will also have an amazing match between Kenzie James and Kelsey Magnolia, as well as Tootie, will all be in triple threat women's action. As I said before, we will have Riley Knox with her last chance against Thunder Kitty. We will have ATM taking on Kendall Beck. We also have the Solution now. Once again, now, hang on. This is interesting because the Blackwell family has been after these titles for a long time. Nick Natural reached out to me and told me he is as confident as ever that he is going to, along with Lenny, put an end. They are going to, if you will, no pun intended, be the solution to the problem they have to deal with. In fact, this is the Power Trips' last shot at the Tag Team Championship. A lot of competitors do not have this is their last shot for a lot of people. And Harsh is recovering well from a vicious hardcore match that he had with Cash Borden at the Riot on the Range show in Centralia just last month. Damian Blackwell got involved in that matchup to help out his mentor. I'm beyond excited for this show. I've seen the promotion. There's a lot at stake. The thing that makes PWE stand out among the rest is it's the fact that they are willing to go so far out. They are traveling. I've gone to Pinckneyville. I've gone to Centralia, Alton, St. Louis. Like so many different places. It's almost went from being a bi-state to a tri-state reach. From the Indiana market as well. But Lenny feels it's time to expand into Missouri. Missouri to me is the wrestling capital of the world, specifically St. Louis. And
St. Louis is, I like all the hubs around it. I like that you can go into Illinois, like you can go to Missouri. You got Indiana right there. You got Iowa, within hours, 4 or 5 hours, and that's a good circle for the boys to get their talent out there, to get seen, so they can expand it more, globally. Get those guys out there, and Lenny's doing it. Everyone else is doing it, Glory Pro, Anarchy, and
they're all great.
They're all great, and PWE is really, doing some stuff, especially, and they're going to be in Missouri for the first time, and that's going to be great. And I know how much Lenny really, really, really wants to be, because it's in his blood. And, it's like, man, when I first met him, and to this day, he's a wild card. He's a wild, wild man. But he has always had two passions. One is the business, and two, well, it's actually tied. The business and his son. Those are his passions. So, and to see him thriving makes me very happy. To see Harsh back in the game makes me really happy. And so is me and Lenny. Me and Lenny have had, so that tag team match, they're gonna tear the house down. That tag team, that whole card is stacked. That's a 4-way main event if you think about it. You got the 6-man lockdown. You got the world title match, KLD and Brandon Aarons. You got the tag team title match, and you got the women's championship. That's those 4 matches. Those are main event caliber matches. And for those stipulations, for those matches, man, that's a stacked card. And if you guys don't sell out, then there's something wrong with the water in Alton, right? So
yeah,
there's something in the water anyway in Alton. So just don't drink the tap water.
Well, I was gonna say thankfully we're Alton, Illinois, and not Flint, Michigan. But
yeah.
No, I definitely what was I gonna say? I'm sorry. Okay. So
that's all right.
Last year,
PWE,
this is another thing with
lockdown.
So last year PWE had 13 shows in 6 towns in 9 venues. This year we've had and will have 12 shows in 8 venues in 7 towns. The expansion is crazy.
How many months is it? How many months for those 13?
I mean, all throughout the year. We're year round.
Like the full year.
And the big thing is also to take into account that every venue that I've been at, as long as I've been with PWE, wants us back. The Faircade at Pinckneyville wants us back. At Riot on the Range, them and out in Centralia want us back. Alton, it goes without saying, Alton's like the hub. And the plan is to make Concordia feel the same. And there's plans beyond that I love keeping under wraps because I love always throwing surprises out there. But of course, down the road, I'm always going to be willing to share more. But this is the thing. I've 1000%. I trust Lenny. This is my thing with all this. I trust Lenny, and the locker room trusts Lenny. And we seem to all trust each other. It really is one big family. And that means a lot to me,
I can tell.
Absolutely.
You need that type of you need that in the business, and it's hard to come by.
It is. And it's unfortunate that it really is becoming harder to come by as time has gone on. I do feel that the video production has gotten better over time. I would be remiss. It's funny. I don't want to hear my commentary so I can hear it. I want it on there so other people can hear it. Yeah. I hate my own voice. That's why I hate editing. I hate editing so bad because I'm the one that has
too. It's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. See, everybody else, other people hate my voice.
Brother. I'm messing with you, brother.
No, you're fine.
No, man.
Like
I only kid. You got to have some give and take when it comes to the business. You say you love your family, but also too you got to be able to take what that family dishes out to you from time to time.
Oh, absolutely.
It's wonderful. I felt that family dynamic. Oh yeah, I felt that family dynamic when I was in the business, and it's always good to hear others experience that type of feeling. When I come on here, I kind of get that dynamic. Speaking with you and Renee and Rodell. I know he has a hard time here because of his outside life and stuff like that. But we just keep going on and getting out this world of professional wrestling and give our thoughts on it to the audience.
Yep, 1,000%. I couldn't agree more.
But yeah, man. What is Perry coming on tonight?
I do not believe so.
Okay. What about Dewan?
Nope, I did not hear from Perry or Dewan, and that's okay.
Just us, huh?
It's been just us, and
two soldiers, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another 2 hours is coming upon us. What show is this? Do you know? Does it say what number this was when you?
Yeah, we're up to number 453, man.
Damn, it's gonna be 500 before you know it.
It is crazy how time has flown by. The amount of shows, the amount of hosts, a lot of memories. And like I said, a lot of changes happened.
You got to promote for tonight.
What's that?
What's that?
No,
you
what
got
did you say?
Anything PWE else to promote?
Well,
I said, is there anything else Pro Wrestling Epic you got?
Well, we got our, like I said, this Saturday, we got the Bittersweet Lockdown 2 in Alton, Illinois, at the Franklin Lodge. Definitely go buy your tickets now. You can find it on the Facebook page, a link to buy the tickets because they are selling fast. But excuse me. I guess now would be as good a time as ever. Allow me to re-find it. But I guess I can preview to you all that are tuning in the poster for the November show in St. Louis. Now, the name, Lenny and I were talking about names, and Lenny came up with Ours is the Fury. And this will be, once again, at Concordia Turner Gymnasium off Gravois Avenue in St. Louis, Saturday, November 4th. So this will be the event following this one, that this Saturday. I cannot recommend how much it would mean to so many if you all would come out to this event. Come out to just see for yourself just how talented this locker room is. A lot of people, I feel like, give PWE a bad rep because when you wrestle in Illinois, there is no athletic commission. So you can do things more in Illinois that you can't do in Missouri. Well, then come on out on November 4th and see just what these wrestlers can do. For some of them, this will be a bucket list, dream come true wrestling in St. Louis. Some of the wrestlers on this roster have never wrestled in Missouri before. Others, it'll be another day in paradise for them. But they, I'm blessed to be a part of PWE. I want to stick with PWE as long as I possibly can, as long as they'll allow me to be there. And, Lenny wants the best out of everybody. Even if he comes off as, rough around the edges or something, it's only because he wants what's best for you and for everything.
That's him. That's not a character. That's Lenny. So
Lenny has poured so much of his heart and soul and body into Pro Wrestling Epic, and the people that wrestle there and do video production there and commentate like me there. We would not be there if we didn't believe in everything he's told us. So that to me is the biggest takeaway. So that's just how I look at it.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. You love the promotion you're with. You're happy with it. That's all that matters, man. You know,
Exactly.
you get that word out there. You know, you got to give. You got to put the paint to the portrait, and that's what you're doing when you're giving that. When you're doing those announcing duties, when you're giving the tail of the tape to the audience on that YouTube channel, because there's a lot of people that don't get to go there live, and if they can watch it and they can, you know, explain to what's going on in the match, who's in the match. You can give background on those guys to people who've never seen these wrestlers before, because, you know, like it's YouTube. YouTube is the worldwide viewership technology, and hearing your voice on there is going to get that promotion out there more than just the Midwest.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I've been showcasing all these matches. You know, over the show, I was promoting everything that we got going on, because promotion, word of mouth, still goes a long way. You know, Lenny mixes in the old school style with the new school style when it comes to promoting yourself and your events. And, you know, this is my thing. If I didn't believe in the product and the promotion, I would not be here. Like I told you in the past, you can either feel secure and do this, or you can take a chance and go up like this.
Yep, yeah, take a chance, man.
I took the chance, and like I said, I love that locker room at Dynamo. I hope they find a venue soon. They've not held a show since, I believe, either June or July. And you know, wrestling doesn't pay the bills, but it's a passion that people love doing. And I know a lot of men and women in that locker room that I hope, you know, get to continue. And you know, for Jim and Crystal too, they've been doing this for so long. And you know, and it's fun. And I also want to say this. My very first show with PWE, I get a promo pic, you know, that is out there, you know, and they promote me on the Facebook page. I'm on promotional graphics. Like, I feel important. Like, this is the thing. I know there's always going to be someone better. My goal is to do the very best I can and be the very best I can for everybody that's in that locker room and for everybody that watches the show. And I much rather prefer doing that in person than having to be. I have to you know, like, how do I describe it? It's made me love being back involved with professional wrestling again. There's been a lot of things that have soured me on it lately. Doing these PWE shows, I get so excited.
Me too.
You know, and it's something that I know a lot of people really enjoy. They get great crowds. Lenny invests a lot of time. The talent invests a lot of labor. Everybody does so much. So I'm just looking forward to this Saturday night. And for those, once again, I'll put up the picture of this Saturday night. Once again, it is well,
hold on, I'm here.
All right, there you are. I'm just promoting the show again. That is Bittersweet Lockdown 2 in Alton. Once again, we have the main event, which will be the Bittersweet Lockdown 2 match.
Man, it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be fantastic. Ben Truss versus Blake Steele versus Dallas Taylor versus Jabari King versus Percy Drews versus Camaro Jackson. We're gonna have Brandon Aarons taking on KLD. If KLD wins, Aarons cannot challenge for the title anymore as long as KLD is the champion. We also have the Solution taking on the Power Trip for the tag team championships. It's the Power Trip's last chance as well. Damn. We have ATM taking on Kendall Beck. This is Kendall Beck's long-awaited 7-month-long wait for his rematch for the Interstate Championship. We will also have Thunder Kitty taking on Riley Knox. Riley Knox, who suffered an injury at the hands of Thunder Kitty at Riot on the Range, is healed up, back to full strength, and more determined than ever. And she has to be, because this is her last chance at Thunder Kitty's PWE Women's Championship. We also have a great triple threat women's match for the stipulation winner getting a future women's championship opportunity, as Kenzie James takes on Kelsey Magnolia, who also takes on Tootie. We also have, and I failed to mention this earlier, of the Solution, Derek Fullerton will be taking on PT Beckham in action. Some unfinished business there these two gentlemen need to finish. Also, the long-awaited return of Tyler Copeland will be taking place at Bittersweet Lockdown 2. And we have the PWE Powerhouse Champion back in the house. That is right. Baracus will be back this Saturday night. He will take on anybody who wants a shot at his championship. We also will have Zulu in action. Zulu took on Jabari King at Riot on the Range and put up a good fight, but it was not enough. But we'll see what he does this time around. We will also have Keith Smith Jr. in action, the third generation superstar, part of the Mustache Mafia. And of course, the Nasty One is in action for Pro Wrestling Epic at Bittersweet Lockdown 2. And last but not least, and most unfortunate, Ace Roberts, who, let me tell you, he's about as pleasant as a kidney stone the size of Montana. Oh God almighty. But he will be in action as well this Saturday night here in Alton, Illinois. And I am telling you, Jay Wade, I cannot wait. If you have not gotten your tickets yet, folks, I implore you, go to the Facebook page of Pro Wrestling Epic. Get your tickets. It is going to be one show you will never forget. And then, just like I said earlier, next month, November 4th, Saturday, at Concordia Turner's Gymnasium in Gravois in St. Louis. Ours is the Fury, the debut St. Louis show of Pro Wrestling Epic. It is sure to set the Gateway City on fire.
Oh, yeah.
And I am looking forward to it. And we also, I want to say, our friend himself, Lenny Mephisto, sharing his comments. I signed up for the sacrifice. I love what we do. Thank you for the kind words. I love to hear it. I hope Lenny's checked in on this whole interview.
Yeah, me too. We got to get him back on the show, man. He's a interesting cat, and I'm sure he's got a history that he'd like to get out to the world, so more people can look him up. Besides a promoter, he's got a great past and present as a worker, and he's defending the tag straps. He's a tag champion, so he must be still doing something right in that ring.
It amazes me. I want to tell you something. One more thing about Lenny before we close. So at the Riot on the Range show, Lenny actually provided free admission for a year for the venue hosts.
Oh, cool.
For thanking them as a thank you for the show. So I just thought that was a wonderful gesture by
Oh, it is.
by Lenny. And he's always told me he wants what he says, basically what I think we can do to make things better. And yeah. And Herb, thank you so much, buddy, for tuning
Thanks,
in
Herb.
as always. Have a blessed evening.
He's a legend, isn't he?
He's definitely someone. I'm still waiting for the day I come over and he and I just shoot the breeze, have a beer, and he shows me all of his wrestling archives.
God, I would love to see that. You know, like one of the
He
things-
owes. This is the thing. He owes me that from a few years ago, and I've never cashed in on it. I'm gonna have to reach out to him one of these days
I'd
on
like,
that.
I'd like to know if he smokes. You know, I'm a cigar smoker, dude. I would love to share a beer, a cigar with him while we talk old school wrestling. You know, you, me, him, Luke Roberts, whoever wants.
Yeah.
Chase, because man, wrestling at the Chase. I wish I was born. I was born before, during that period, because that was history right there. Like the other day, I was looking at a poster for WWE, and the main event was King Kong Bundy against Hillbilly Jim. Now you would think, well, that's not kind of a main event. Well, that is old school at its best. That was the C show at the time, because they were running 2-3 shows a day back in the 80s, the WWF. And, I would kill to see a match like that now, that old school shit. So it just, sitting with Herb, talking to Herb about old school wrestling, he could fill hour upon hour on the show.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So yeah, like I said, I hope Lenny tuned into the rest of the interview, and
I hope we had a lot of tune in tonight.
If not, I'll definitely tell him what we've said and covered, and God love him. And once again, it's just a pleasure for me to be here, doing what I love and being back with the Wrestle Talk podcast. It's been way too long since I've been away, but
hey, real quick, is there a phone number you can post that people have a phone number to call for the tickets?
Yeah, so let me put on.
I don't mean to interrupt you or call you out, but I just didn't.
No, you're good. I have it. I just got to get to it.
The poster. And I'm sure the poster has a number on it.
All right. So I actually have. So let's see. There are multiple ways to pay for. Gosh darn it.
You can send cash to me to start off with. Somehow, some way, I'll make sure Lenny gets that money at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is what's on their face. There
you go. That's what.
There we go. These are the different methods with cash or the following payment types. You can go to Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo.
Now, did they have to reach out to someone in particular to let them know what show they want to go to? Because are you just doing one at a time? Like, is there just tickets for this upcoming show on Saturday, or is there shows?
So it's tickets for this Saturday, and then here, let me. I do have the email address that you can go to, so just bear with me. There is an email address that you would email to let them know what tickets you want for as far as which show is concerned. So let me pull that up. So there you go.
Is that a picture of Lenny as a child?
Absolutely. Hell, that's a picture of Lenny last week. Shit. Yeah. But yes, you just go to that email. You can go to that email address, and should be able to take care of everything with ticket arrangements. And once again, stay tuned on the Facebook page, especially as updates are always given as far as ticket sales are concerned. So there's always a way to buy new ticket or buy tickets in general. So I definitely recommend keeping an eye out, if you will. So, yeah.
Another show in the books, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Folks, I want to thank you all so much for tuning into the Wrestle Talk podcast. Before we close, as always, I want to put up the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. For that, you dial 988. It is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand that you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you, that cares about you, that wants to get you the help and wants to be that help. Because mental illness is a real thing. Mental health issues are a real issue in this world, and you deserve to be recognized as such. And you could also be that person who could be the listening ears for somebody else in trouble. I want to thank my co-host, Jay Wade. I want to thank Luke Skywalker Roberts, the Night Owl. I want to thank everybody who's been a part of this podcast. I want to thank Lenny Mephisto and everybody at PWE. Just everybody. I'm so grateful for the life I have. Yeah, it can be stressful, but I'm still blessed. So with that, folks, he's Jay Wade. I'm the Maestro, Jeremy Karp. And remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading.